Hey, I'm going out to play with my friends, so give me some money. About $2,000 should be good. No. I really can't afford such a large amount. Huh? So marrying a doctor was all about the money after all. That's why you're so selfish about money. You're really an awful woman. I, who cannot live a normal life without a respirator, and must use a wheelchair to go anywhere, found a husband who said he wanted to marry me despite this. However, the problem was his child from a previous relationship. As he became a university student, he planned a trip with his friends and asked me for money. But with the cost of renting a respirator and other expenses, I simply couldn't afford it. That's impossible. What? Really, you're so annoying. Always acting like a mother, and if you're useless, then just leave. Wish you would just disappear. Then, he went as far as to unplug my respirator and stole the money hidden in the dresser before leaving. What should I do? I'm finding it harder to breathe. My name is Jane, and I'm turning 42 this year. Now, I am happily living with my husband and our 15-year-old son, John, but there's something inseparable from my life. That's the ventilator. Since I was young, I was weak, and while other kids went outside to play, I preferred reading books or watching movies at home. Of course, I wanted to go out and play, but my body couldn't handle it. Aren't you going to play outside? Going outside makes me tired. I'm going to read the book I got the other day at home today. I see. But staying inside all the time will make your body weak. So try to go out and play with everyone once in a while. Okay. Initially, my parents didn't suspect an illness, just thought I lacked physical strength. However, during a physical education class at school, I fainted. Initially thought to be heat stroke, hospital tests revealed I had a rare disease. The doctor said I could live normally now, but gradually, I would lose my mobility. I remember those words clearly. I'm sick? Seems so. But it's okay. The doctors will surely cure you. One day, you'll be able to play with everyone. So, can you believe that, Jane? Just starting elementary school. I was still a child but understood my condition would worsen. Maybe it won't be cured. I understood that. My parents were doing their best to encourage me. But I knew they were also filled with deep anxiety. But who knows what the future holds? I wasn't too pessimistic about the situation and didn't take it too seriously. However, as I reached the upper grades of elementary and then middle school, I became short of breath from just a little walking. And I attended a correspondence high school. Moving around the school was a huge task for me. But staying home, studying, and only going out for hospital visits, I started to find no joy in life. How was your study today? The subjects must be getting more difficult, aren't they? You're so annoying. Don't just come into my room. Sorry. Do you need something? If not, leave. I was supported by my parents all along, and I knew talking to them like that was wrong. I was a high school student, and deep down, I understood that. Why did I lash out at my parents? They did nothing wrong. I should be more grateful, but what am I doing? I fell into self-loathing, unable to control my emotions. When I look around, everyone is wearing makeup, dressed stylishly, and heading out shopping. On brief holidays, they visit theme parks or go camping. Seeing people enjoying their high school life on social media truly makes my heart ache. Why couldn't I enjoy life the same way? I didn't make many friends in middle school because I was different. And attending a correspondence high school meant I didn't make new friends. My only conversations were with my family. I felt like I was trapped in a birdcage. Why only me? Why wasn't I born healthy? Once, when I couldn't contain my emotions, I blurted this out to my mother. She apologized for not being able to give birth to me with a healthy body. Of course, my illness wasn't my mother's fault. And perhaps my parents were even more troubled than I was. I regretted saying those words, but at the same time, I acutely felt the unfairness of the world. However, at the age of 20, I secured a job at a large company through a disability program. I could earn my own money and found hobbies I could do from home. Mentally, I had grown and began to find joy in life, little by little. And then, before I knew it, I turned 30. How have you been feeling lately? Are the medications calming you down? Thanks to the new medication prescribed by you, I've been able to live much more comfortably. That's great. A new doctor, Mike, was assigned at the hospital I visited weekly. He was older than me and had a very calm demeanor. He sincerely dealt with my illness. And since my only interaction with the different gender was during hospital visits, it became a source of comfort. Over time, as we became closer and he advised that getting out occasionally could be good for my health, I took a bold step and invited him for a meal. I've been wanting to go to the Italian restaurant in front of the hospital. Let's definitely go. Actually, Jane, you were my last appointment this morning. How about now? It was my first time having a meal with a man, and I was really nervous, but I had a good time. I had always been cooped up at home, had hobbies, but had never been in a relationship. I thought no one would want to be with someone who has a disease like mine. And I would live my life single. So, I was really thrilled. The excitement I felt, and my heartbeat racing, was as exhausting as it was exhilarating. But from that day, we somehow started going out for meals together. He would compliment my appearance every time we ate out, calling me pure and wonderful, and I had feelings for him too. It didn't take long for us to come together after that. I will always support you, so please marry me. If I missed marrying him, I felt like there would be no other path to happiness in my life. I intuitively thought so. Of course, my illness played a part in this. I could hardly go out, and I did all my work from home. Going out for a meal somewhere after a hospital visit was the limit. I couldn't possibly stay overnight somewhere. And marrying me would mean various restrictions would be imposed. He had been married once before, so he knew more about married life than I did. In such circumstances, he chose me as his remarriage partner. I couldn't have been happier and felt it was fate. Please take care of me from now on. Me too. And I don't know how he'll react, but I'll talk to my son properly today. Is it okay if we start living together after that? Of course. I'm not in a hurry, and I want us to be a wonderful family together. The problem for him wasn't just my illness. He had a child with his previous wife, who is now a middle schooler. It's a sensitive age, and just the fact that his father is remarrying could be upsetting. Moreover, his new stepmother has a disease that hardly allows her to go out. Honestly, I had no confidence in myself and wondered if the three of us could get along. Would his son accept me? I had such worries. But worrying wouldn't help, so I decided to just see how things would go. A week later. Well, I think he won't talk much because of his age. But his room is separate, so it'll be fine. I want to move in together around next month. I'm okay with it, but are you sure we're not rushing things? He's in his rebellious phase, so if he hates it, he would say so. But I didn't see any signs of that, so I think it'll be fine. Plus, he's been without a mother since he was little, so I think he's felt lonely. I'm counting on you from now on. Indeed. I think what he said is correct. He's busy as a doctor. He has night shifts, and without a mother, it's certain he felt lonely. I don't think I can become his mother, nor do I intend to presume so. But if I can ease his loneliness even a little, I want to take on the role of a mother as much as I can. That was my feeling. And so began our life together as three. I'm looking forward to living with you from today.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was naturally quiet, in his rebellious phase, or if he hadn't accepted me yet, but he didn't talk much. He wouldn't even make eye contact, and communication was virtually non-existent at first. But gradually, he started to look at me and even talk. At the same time, my husband's work got busier, and I spent more time with his son. I'm going out to eat with friends, so can you give me some money? Would $30 be enough? After eating, we might go to karaoke or bowling. So that won't be enough. I need at least $100. No, I don't think you need that much. What do you know? You've never hung out with friends. It costs a lot just to hang out, and it's your duty as a mother to provide that, isn't it? Being told it was my duty as a mother, I couldn't say anything back. In retrospect, I think there was some kind of curse. I could never become his mother, no matter what. But when he needed me, I wanted to respond with all my might. I wanted to act as a mother. That's what I thought. In hindsight, a middle schooler going out to play didn't need $100. But I worked and had a decent income and savings, so I ended up giving it to him. And I might stay over at a friend's house, so don't tell Dad, okay? Huh? Aren't you supposed to have school tomorrow? Sure, there's school, but that's none of your business, right? Should I really let him be this free-spirited? My husband was quite strict, had set curfews, and only gave him a limited amount of money when he went out. I knew I shouldn't be doing this, but I didn't want him to hate me. What if he was starting to open up to me? And being strict would make him shut me out completely? I had those fears. Understood. Just be careful then. He ignored me and left, but maybe it's better to let him be somewhat free. I'm not his mother, so being too motherly might irritate him. Plus, from his perspective, he probably thinks, I don't want to hear it from you. I thought so, but ignoring my husband's educational philosophy made my heart ache. I know raising children is never easy. But I didn't expect there to be so many problems. However, that night, as I thought about it alone, I realized I couldn't just keep silent about it. So, the next morning, when my husband came back, I told him everything. I think it's partly because he's going through adolescence. But we can't just leave it be.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me. I did think there would come a day when he wouldn't listen to me anymore. Well, maybe it's somewhat inevitable. It's not good to spoil him, but being too strict isn't good either. I'll think about it. My husband seemed to struggle with parenting, but I couldn't offer any effective advice. I wanted to be helpful, but I felt utterly useless. Despite my frustration, I continued to support in my own way. Eventually, he graduated high school and, although not the top of his class, went on to college. I was glad he went on to further education, happy along with my husband. But there was something even more difficult happening. My health. Are you okay?
Yeah.
The medication has made it a bit easier, but it's quite hard to breathe. My health had started to decline about a month ago, and recently. Even just lying down made it difficult to breathe. According to my husband, my disease was progressing quite rapidly. I would no longer be able to work. My respiratory system was failing. And it seemed I would need to live with a ventilator in the future. My legs were also getting weaker, so I would need a wheelchair when going out. That's how far my condition had progressed. I can't believe this. It's okay. I will always be here to support you. So, don't worry. I won't leave you alone. His words helped me keep my spirits up, but as weeks went by, just as he said, living a normal life became increasingly difficult. Why? We were married and had built a good family. His son had grown up and was setting out on his own. And we should have been able to live happily together. Then, I became unable to live without a wheelchair and a ventilator, making it difficult to do anything on my own. Yet, I didn't want to burden my family. So, I used the money I had saved to hire a helper, trying not to cause any trouble. Can you give me some money? Huh? Are you going out with friends? Going on a trip? I need about $2,000. What? I can't give you that much. So, you want me to be the only one left out, huh? It's not that I wanted to say that. But, honestly, my medical expenses alone were costing a significant amount each month. Of course, my husband being a doctor meant we weren't financially struggling. However, I didn't want to be a burden, so I was paying for everything from my savings. Being told to prepare $2,000 immediately for a trip with friends. It wasn't that simple. I understand what you're saying, but that amount of money. I see. So, you're just pretending to be a mother. But you don't really care about me, do you? That's not true at all. But, well, I don't need your permission anyway. You must be keeping some cash stored away, right? He said that and began rummaging through the dresser in my bedroom. Wait. What are you doing? John. What are you doing? Oh. You've been hoarding quite a bit. So you won't even give me $2,000? Pretending to be a mother but not being of any use at all. He took the cash I had stored and put it in his pocket. Why would he do that? Surely there's a line between right and wrong that shouldn't be crossed. Yet, I was truly shocked and disappointed. I never thought he would go this far. Wait. I thought you could tell right from wrong. What are you trying to do? What's the use of this money to you? I can make much better use of it. Stop. It's not too late to give it back. Shut up. I was only hanging out with you because you were good with money. But honestly, you've been annoying. I don't think I can milk anything more from you, so just disappear. What is he saying? Just as I thought that, he approached me slowly, glaring, and unplugged my ventilator. Wait. What are you doing? Wait. Cough. Why don't you ask your beloved husband, whom you married not for love but for his money, for help? Oh, my mistake, it was for the money, wasn't it? He left me there, but I started to panic a bit. Not having the ventilator didn't mean I couldn't breathe at all. But it felt like I had sprinted full speed, and it was truly difficult to breathe. My husband was still asleep after his night shift, and I didn't have the strength to go to his room. I collapsed on the spot, struggling to breathe and trying desperately to keep calm. About 30 minutes passed, perhaps. My husband found me by chance on his way back from the bathroom. And I was finally relieved from the struggle. Are you okay? Cough. Cough. What happened? Actually, I was relieved to have been saved. But more than that, I felt fear upon realizing the true nature of my husband's son. I couldn't possibly live with such a person. With that thought, I told my husband everything that had just happened. About the life-threatening situation and how he smirked as he ran off with my money. Although my husband was visibly upset, shaking slightly with clenched fists. It was clear he was very angry but also on my side. I was deeply grateful for that. That damn son. I'm truly sorry. It's not your fault, but I can't live with him any longer. Of course. I agree. But just kicking him out won't make him understand. I have a plan. A plan. Although he was on my side, it seemed he didn't want to just kick him out. I wanted to sever ties as soon as possible. What could my husband be thinking? But after hearing his plan, I found myself oddly convinced. Simply evicting him would only sever our relationship as parent and child, potentially leading him to repeat the same mistakes. I realized it wouldn't solve the root problem. A week later, the son seemed to have returned from his trip. I'm home. What's this smell? Hi, John. I just got back from a business trip myself. But do you smell something rotten? What? What do you mean you just got back? Weren't you at home? No, I thought everything was fine since Jane didn't contact me. Why are you so panicked? At that moment, he went pale and ran to my bedroom. He probably never expected this situation. After he left, my husband had been at home, but asleep. He must have thought everything would be fine even if he unplugged my ventilator, assuming my husband would handle it. Coming back, he could imagine what might be said to him. But he obviously didn't think it through. However, the reality he faced was different from what he imagined. My husband didn't know about the unplugged ventilator, and the house was filled with a rotting smell. He must have speculated various scenarios, but the most likely one made him desperately run to my room, trying to deny it. Huh? Oh. What are you doing here? I thought you might be at the police station by now. No. What's going on? And this smell. It might be because I left some meat defrosting in the kitchen, and it's rotted since it's summer. But to unplug someone's ventilator and then casually come back. If you had even a shred of conscience, I'd think you'd go to the police. Or do you lack even that? When I bluntly said that, he was rendered speechless. He must have thought I had died after he unplugged my ventilator and was left here. He must have thought that. But this was all part of the plan my husband and I had devised, and he fell for it perfectly. How panicked he must have been, believing he had taken a life with his own hands. That panic made him run to my room, pale and sweating. But it didn't happen, thanks to my husband's intervention. If there had been a mistake and my husband hadn't noticed, my life would have truly been in danger. You realize what you've done, right? If things had gone as you thought, it would have been the worst-case scenario. Wait a minute. You tricked me? I was really shocked. Stop doing stuff like this. Don't joke. What you did is unforgivable. The worst thing a person can do. No. I just wanted to make her suffer a bit. I didn't mean. That's exactly the problem. Despite any trouble she might have caused you. You're not human. You good for nothing. As my husband shouted, grabbing him by the collar, the son just looked down in silence. He probably had never been scolded like this by my husband before. That's why he was shocked and even felt fear. But to think my husband would react this way after such an act. He should have known better. I hope you understand, we're cutting ties. You're on your own from now on. I won't pay for your college anymore, nor care about your living expenses. Our relationship as parent and child is over. Wait. Don't say that. Look, you're misunderstanding. I didn't do it on purpose. What are you talking about? I just tripped. There's no evidence I did it intentionally, right? I hadn't expected such a desperate attempt at the very end. After being scolded so severely by my husband and thinking he had reflected a little, he resorted to excuses once he knew the ties were to be cut. Without financial support for college or living expenses, he wouldn't be able to survive. He must have thought he didn't want that. Truly the end of the line as a human being. No apology or sense of atonement towards me. My husband shouted for what reason? He seemed to understand none of it. But my husband seemed utterly dismayed by this statement. I can't believe it. Not a single word of apology from you even at the very end. And you say there's no evidence you did it intentionally? What are you talking about? Everything you did was captured on camera. What do you mean it's on camera? We have surveillance cameras installed to quickly detect any abnormalities. I've seen everything from those cameras. They also have recording functions, so I know all the terrible things you said. He had no interest in me, so he didn't know there was a camera in my bedroom. But that's not really the issue. The problem is that he continued to lie to his father until the very end. Why couldn't he just admit his fault and apologize? Even if there were no cameras, if he had admitted his actions and apologized, maybe my husband could have forgiven him. But his choice was to try to escape his guilt, not to admit and apologize. Now, with no way left to make excuses and completely out of options, he began to grovel. Such a performance. I didn't want to see it, but I stayed silent. I'm truly sorry. I'll apologize as many times as needed and reflect on my actions. I swear I'll change. Please forgive me? You have two choices: leave this place immediately or be reported to the police. With the camera footage. You understand the trouble you'd be in if we went to the police now, right? Wait. Are you really going to turn your own son in? What you've done amounts to that, and I no longer consider you my son. There's no humanity in someone who treats others like tools. As my husband spoke, the son collapsed to his knees, crying. The face that used to smile slyly when taking money from me now showed no trace of ease. He might be regretting his actions and perhaps reflecting. Or maybe he's just regretting. But showing such a pitiful sight won't make me forgive him. Sure, my illness might have caused some inconvenience. But there are things that are okay to do and things that are not, regardless of any inconvenience caused. It's clear he lacks the conscience to discern between the two. Don't come near this house ever again and don't contact us in any way. If you can keep these two conditions, we won't do anything further. So, I have to quit college? I have nowhere to live. No money. That's your problem, not mine. And don't expect any financial support from us in the future. Oh, and don't forget, you'll need to return the money you took without permission. I don't have a job or a way to live. How am I supposed to return money I've already spent? Not paying because you don't have a job is no excuse. The world doesn't work that way. Keep talking nonsense, and we'll consider talking to the police. Unable to respond, he was at a loss. It felt like we had the upper hand, but it had to be said to ensure he'd act responsibly. Later that day, we made him pack his bags and leave the house. What he does from here is not my concern, he brought this upon himself. If he genuinely reflects on his actions, perhaps a better life awaits him. But if he continues to blame others and complain, he's doomed to repeat the same life. I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused you until the very end. But thank you for being on my side. When we got married, I promised to stay by your side no matter what. To keep supporting you. Thank you. Really, thank you. His reassurance warmed my heart. Though I hadn't done anything, our actions led to severing ties with his son. My husband. I'm grateful for that. I felt a bit sorry for him, but it's good to have someone so principled. I can't live without my husband's support. So, I'll do anything I can for him too. Life can't be lived alone, we all need help from someone at some point. Who will be there to lend a hand? If no one is there for you, it shows your true worth. And I plan to live happily, supporting each other with my husband.